Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and around the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Hundreds of teachers storm venue of crunch meeting between National Labour Commission and leadership of striking teacher unions to press home their demands for better conditions of service. We are live there shortly. Also, curfew imposed on Karaga in northern region after residents clashed with military. One is dead and 3 others are battling for their lives. We'll bring you a live update. And much later, Minister for Works and Housing Kojo Ponkroma says government is actively looking for private partners to assist in the completion of the abandoned multi-million-dollar Saglemi housing project. Much later, minority in Parliament calls for a bipartisan probe into the budget and expenditure for the preparation and organisation of the just-ended All Africa Games. Now, the National Labour Commission is currently in a crunch meeting with the leadership of striking pre-tertiary teacher unions. The unions declared a nationwide strike last Wednesday in protest against poor working conditions, among other demands. The NLC, which declared the industrial action has already declared that action illegal and is hoping to convince the teacher unions to return to the classrooms. Even before the meeting makes a headway, scores of teachers have stormed the meeting venue to demand that the NLC enters a ruling in their favor or risk heightening the agitation on the education front.
The teachers for the course strike and I suppose now I'm a young coffee. The teachers for the new one is young coffee. A chinampo china. It's a news last from the bar. News Becca. So 1 month up to Tuesday, about Tuesday night, a Beatrice house. The office in the Yonsiadi.
How more colleagues or more private schools and the Motifi.
Aye, if you say, as I'm saying, maybe you see, I know the high.
And you heard a student there describing the situation at his or her school because of the strike by the pre-tertiary teacher unions. We'll bring you more as regards the impact of the strike from the regions. But ahead of that, let's bring you that update from the meeting between the NLC and the teacher unions. Daniel Opoku is our Labour correspondent. He's monitoring the meeting for us. He joins us live now. Daniel, what can you tell us about this crunch meeting happening?
Right, so currently the National Labour Commission has adjourned the first part of the meeting. Initially it was between the striking teachers. The striking teachers are being led by their various leaders. You have Mr. Jekaboni from Nagras. You also have Mr. Thomas Musa Sanko, who is the General Secretary of NAS. Then you have President Sinali Awud, who is the President of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers. They were initially in a meeting with the president, with the National Labour Commission. And based on what they said, the Commission has to ask them to work out and then ask the government side to take part. So currently, both the commissioners and government and also the teacher unions have gone into various caucuses. After the caucus, we expect the National Labour Commission to give its ruling. So currently, the Labour Commission commissioners are in their own private committee, holding their own private discussions. Then they will call the two parties into the meeting, then the ruling will be given.
Daniel, earlier we also had information that some teachers had stormed the venue of this meeting, trying to, as it were, convince the NLC to rule in the favor of the teachers. Can you tell us the scene at the moment?
Right. So the scene at the National Labour Commission premises this morning is something that usually does not occur. The first time that occurred was when the leadership of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association about 2-3 years ago decided to also visit the premises of the National Labour Commission to demand a particular ruling. This is the second time we are seeing members of striking teachers who have also converged at the premises of the National Labour Commission to demand the same ruling. Now, what they are saying is that they are supporting their national leadership as to how the outcome of the ruling is going to be, and they are very hopeful that the National Labour Commission's ruling should be in their favor. Failure to do so, that's going to heighten the existing tension that we are seeing now. Then clearly the industrial fund is going to be disturbed. Already, let's not forget that students are in a revision week. So as long as you prolong the strike, then obviously the academic calendar is going to be disrupted. Then that will create a lot of problems on the education front.
Daniel, I want you to hold on for us to listen to some of the teachers who are currently at the venue of that meeting, and then I'll come back to you. Hold on.
There's been an impasse between the teacher union and then the Labour Commission over the legality of our strike action. So we are here to resolve.
My school, how many tickets are these premises?
We are not here for protest. We are here to give support to our leadership.
What is the outcome of the
If it doesn't go well, we have a leadership, so we'll go into caucus and come up with an appropriate way to go.
In the first place, to solidarize with our leadership as they go through the negotiations today. We are about to do so because over the period, it has safe.
And you heard that some teachers, Daniel Opoku is still on the line with us. Daniel, listening to you and listening to them as well, it does not seem that what happened disrupted the meeting in any way. But we also do understand that the president of NAGRAT, Angel Kabonu, has been speaking. What more can you tell us?
Right. So Mr. Kabonu, in the first meeting, after they had come out, I was asking with Saleh what are his expectations going to the next round of the meetings. They say he's hopeful that the commission's ruling will be in their favor, and then that will compel them to call off the strike. Beyond that, then obviously they are still going to hold on to the strike. Let's not forget that the Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei-Dutum, also is part of the meeting. Usually, you wouldn't find such ministers who are taking part in such meetings, but he has decided to be part of this meeting, telling you the level of attachment, the level of seriousness that he attached to this particular strike. So hopefully, let's hope that the ruling of the commission will be, for what I anticipate the commission to do, is one, is to ask striking teachers to call out their strike. Then two, ask both governments and the teacher unions to sit at the negotiation table and conclude their negotiations. Let's not forget that it's also be championed and led by the Fairness and Salaries Commission. They also have been ably represented at National Labour Commission. So by the next hour or two, we are likely to see a ruling from the NLC, then everything will be settled.
Thank you very much, Daniel Opoku, Labour correspondent. We can listen to Angel Kabonu, the president of NAGRAT, giving us details of his thoughts.
Oh, we are still in the process.
Meaning what?
Oh, we are in the process.
How would you describe the mood of the commissioners of the NLC?
Oh, they are doing their work. So now they are meeting the complainants. After that, they will meet the defendants. So we are waiting.
And you are very confident of the outcome of today?
I'm expectant that we get what we have demanded.
But there are the arguments as to whether the NLC or possibly the FOA has the mandates to deal with the matters. That we said before.
The end will determine. But
You heard the president of NAGRAT, Angel Kabonu. As you can imagine, students and pupils are bearing the brunt of this industrial action by teachers. Let's start off from the Ashanti region and speak to Ibrahim Abubakar, who's been monitoring the situation there for us. Ibrahim, earlier we heard a student explaining to us the situation on the ground, but I know you've been to a number of schools. Paint a picture for us how pupils and students are dealing with the strike days after it was embarked on.
Well, Beatrice, for now, schools have been deserted. You know, when the strike began last week, we didn't feel the impact here in Kumasi because most schools had teachers in class teaching. Now, it was from yesterday that the kids were told not to come to school beginning today until they hear that the teachers have resumed their services. And these kids have to write their end of term examination next week, Tuesday. So now most of the school, like I said, I've told them to remain at home. If they do not hear anything on Tuesday, they can come to school and begin writing their exam. So now you go to most of the public senior high schools, basic schools, and you realize that some of the classrooms are lock and key. Others are also open, but there is no teacher and no student. You only find kids within the school premises playing. But then with the Form 3 students, some of the heads have made that provision to get some teachers to teach them, since they will be writing their BC somewhere in July or August. So that provision has been made for the Form 3 students to be catered for.
Ibrahim, I know you've been speaking to a representative of the teacher unions. Who is this person? What has the person been telling you?
Well, I'm not representative of the teacher union. I just randomly engaged some of the kids who were playing, who were supposed to be at school, but then were found playing football and the likes. And I was asking them how the student strike is affecting them, seeing their colleagues in private schools going to school while they remain at home. And they say that is something they are not happy about, and their teachers have asked them to be monitoring the news and see if they will resume their services before they come back to the school.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar. He's our Ashanti regional correspondent. From the Ashanti region, we move to the north, where the Karaga District Security Committee has imposed a dusk to dawn curfew on the community following a clash between residents of Karaga and the military. The confrontation resulted in the death of one person and left 3 others with injuries. The violence is reported to have erupted when the rival regent was unskinned following the death of a self-proclaimed chief of the community. A group of supporters at Monday, that's yesterday, March 25, gathered at the regent's house to pay homage, leading to a confrontation with the military, which intervened to prevent the gathering. I'm joined by Christopher Marco, a man in the northern region who's following this story for us. Chris, curfew imposed, but how would you describe the atmosphere now?
Yes, so as it stands now, some relative calm has been restored in the Karaga community because some more security personnel have been deployed to the area. People are going about their normal duties, but they are doing so with some level of fear. But I can confirm that some relative calm has been restored in the community. Relative calm in terms of security reinforcement, how is it looking like? Yes, even yesterday after the incident, some security reinforcement was made to the area, and this morning a lot more of them from the ND area have been sent to the Karaga community to ensure that security is beefed up.
What about the security officials? Are they saying anything yet?
So far, the security officials have not said anything, but the residents are calling for a thorough investigation into the matter because, according to them, they have lived peacefully until yesterday when the military were brought in to arrest the regents, and they feel and believe that had it not been for the invasion of the military, Karaga was peaceful, and so the military must answer some questions for bringing that confusion to Karaga yesterday.
That brings me to my next question. We understand that the 14-year-old who was shot and subsequently died, there are preparations to bury him. Are you able to give us more, starting with the circumstances which led to him being shot and eventually dying?
Okay, so the girl, teachers are on strike. So the girl yesterday, according to the parents, went to the school to ascertain whether or not the strike has been called off. And she was on her way back home when the unfortunate incident happened. And so when she was hit by the bullet, she was moved together with 3 others to the Karaga hospital, where they were later referred to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. She unfortunately lost her life because, according to doctors, she bled too much, and it affected her health, and that led to her death. Now, this morning, the family are preparing to go and bury her, but as we speak, they've gone to the police station to get a police report before the body will be released for them to go and bury.
Thank you very much, Christopher Marco. He's our correspondent in the northern region, bringing us update of that confrontation between the residents of Karaga and the military there. Thank you very much for those updates. I'm joined by Richard Kumado. He is a security analyst. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Not an analyst, I am a consultant. Thank you.
Security consultant, thank you very much for joining us. First of all, I want to get your thought, or let me rather put it this way, your interpretation of what's happening in Karaga and the subsequent steps that have been taken.
Number one, we allow chieftaincy to divide our people. We allow chieftaincy to become a major security threat, and it threatens public safety to a very large extent. I'm thinking we have the Ministry of Chieftaincy Affairs, and we have the Regional House of Chiefs. It is time we begin to collaborate their functions and efforts in line with standard democratic principles and find where we are getting it wrong and begin to resolve it. Other than that, the whole country, chieftaincy has become a major national security threat for us.
Your issue is how far we've gone with chieftaincy problems. Again, the question is, in your opinion, why do you think that the military was involved instead of, say, the police to deal with a chieftaincy issue?
No, we believe in killing. They shot somebody, a young boy at a Jura. Nobody was held responsibility. They shot this 14-year-old girl dead, and nobody will be held responsibility, and nobody will hold anybody accountable. This is the state of our nation today. There are people in military uniform who have no threat against their life, who go ahead and shoot a 40-year-old girl, shoot young people who have nothing to do with security infractions, and they are not arms in combatants. They'll shoot them and kill them, and nobody is held responsible. Nobody is held accountable. So we promote it. I have been in this business for almost 30 years, and I know so well that no punishable of offenses will rationalize bad behavior and promote antisocial tendencies in society. And law enforcement, who must promote law, maintain law and order, has become lawless and has become a danger unto society. So that is what we are seeing.
Mr. Kumad, am I getting the understanding from what you're saying that you think that authorities who are supposed to ensure peace and security deployed the military instead of, say, the police because they want to kill? Is that what you're saying?
You just spoke to your reporter. He said a girl went to school, was coming, and he got shot. At what point was he shot? Was the girl interfering in security management in the area? At a Jura, a small boy, the mother sent him to go and buy medicine from the pharmacy. He got shot. Who was held accountable and who was held responsible? So this is what you have become as a nation, barbaric and savages. The people who wear military uniform and police uniform who must protect lives and order has become a danger to the people. And we need to be taking ourselves seriously. Other than that, you keep on killing people and you say, no, I disagree. I have served this country for many years and I know what is right, what is not right. And we begin to speak it out this way.
At least in the case of Adra, we know a committee was set up. There were recommendations.
What happened to the committee report? Nothing was happening. Who is taking care of that boy? The mother is still bleeding, and the mother has never had a closure. And so we don't do that. In democracies where we say we are governed by rule of law, the law must be seen to be being enforced. And military officers know that they will be held responsible for excesses. But nobody is being held responsibility. Nobody has a responsibility here. That is why they could go out there and shoot and kill, and nobody cares.
Let me ask you in about 40 seconds, if you can tell us what recommendations you have beyond what you've just talked about.
No, I think families will need to be taking them on to the court, and let's pray that the court will reason up with the families whose children are being slaughtered for free, because this is a country we live in, and it should be governed by rule of law.
Thank you very much. And that was Kumado there. He is security analyst Richard Kumado giving us his perspective on the Karaga incident. Thank you for speaking to us. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. And when we come back, we'll bring you more as regards what the Works and Housing Minister is saying and the minority leaders case in court. Stay with us.
Accra International Arts and Crafts Show in Ghana. Organized by the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, this 10-day festival will be a celebration of functional arts and crafts, home decorations, jewelry and textiles, with export forums on the sidelines. Date 26th April to 5th May 2024. Venue, Papaya Recreational Center, Ibury. Time, 10 a.m. each day. Get ready to immerse yourself in a world of creativity and culture, surrounded by the breathtaking beauty of Ibury.
To register as an exhibitor, kindly visit gepafairs.org or call +233 24 470 6112 or +233 20 955 6525. Edinkra International Arts and Crafts Show. See you there.
Adama, what's the mention? Adama, Betumusua, my sorry. Canino, over Moasia. I do for the Nubian and I don't know what you Adama, what you have from what we say. Technology. I could freeze up. When Kwan, and not letters. No fugum, what you are not fugum. What the bus here? If we have over Timono. Then we are sure say, mention tax. Freezer, power up at the freezer.
Basia, a basson do so.
Me was sick. Me, but you may not do a bit of Adama, without Adama, no, Adama, you can't resist.
Benya Adama, I feel Kayuna Kinka into ya and what.
And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. Thank you for staying. Now, the case involving former Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Kesolato Forson took another turn in court today after Richard Jakpa failed to show up. Last week, the third accused in the ambulance purchase trial, Richard Jakpa, was declared wanted after an Accra High Court issued a bench warrant for his arrest over his failure to show up for his trial. Richard, together with former Deputy Finance Minister Kesolato Forson and a former Chief Director at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Sylvester Memna, have pleaded not guilty to causing financial loss to the state in a €2.37 million contract to purchase 200 ambulances. Lord Dwasare was in court. Forrest joins us in the studio now. Lord, this whole case started in 2012, I believe, and I'm talking about the transaction, and then the case was started in court last year. Just bring us again the background to this, which has led us here.
Okay, so the former Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. Kesolato Forson, Dr. Sylvester Animana, he's a former Chief Director at the Ministry of Health, and then businessman Richard Jakpa. He's the local representative of Big C Trading Limited, the company at the heart of the importation or transfer of the ambulances, 200 ambulances. Now, what it is that I'll quickly run you through the charges that has been preferred against them. So there are 5 counts of willfully causing financial loss to the state, abetment to willfully cause financial loss to the state, contravention of the Public Procurement Act, and intentionally misapplying public property, to which they've all pleaded not guilty, like you stated earlier. Now, in 2011, Richard Jakpa, who is a local representative of Big C Trading Limited, submitted a proposal to government about the providing 200 ambulances, and he was seeking finance from Stanbic Bank. Now, down the line, at the time, now minority leader Dr. Kesolato Forson was the Deputy Finance Minister. According to the brief fact, he signed letters of credit for the release of 50 ambulances. Now, per the agreement, government was supposed to pay 25% of the
entire 200
deal. And the entire deal for the 200 ambulances was supposed to have cost about 15.8 million euros. Now the agreement was that they would be provided in 50 tranches of 50. So for every 50, then the government will pay 25% of it. Now, according to the brief act by the Attorney General, Dr. Keso Atufo, was the Deputy Finance Minister, signed an LOC for 50 batches to be provided, although that was not what had been agreed on. And so back in January 2022, when the case went to trial for the first time, he's been cross-examined and the case has been going. Right now he's closed his case, and then it went on to the second accused person, that's Dr. Sylvester Animana. He's the former chief director. Along the line, the prosecution dropped the case, filing the nolle prosequi. They didn't state the reasons, but the things that had led up to it was that Dr. Sylvester Animana has been very sick. Now, fast track to today, Richard Japa was supposed to have opened his defense, give his witness testimony, but he didn't show up in court last week, and so the presiding judge, Justice Ifiasewa Asaribuchi, issued a bench warrant for his arrest because leading up to that, he had sacked his lead counsel, Thomas Aubin, saying that there were differences in their strategies for how his defense should go along. And so today when the case was called, yes, he was absent again because prior to that, he had provided an excuse duty or the medical certificate to the courts through WhatsApp because there was no lawyer to file after them. So today again, he didn't show up in court, and that was because he's still in the hospital. A court official told the court that he indeed visited Richard Japa in the hospital to confirm that he's actually in the hospital, and that's why he was not able to show up in court. Now the update is that he has secured the services of another lawyer in the person of Thaddeus Sorry, and so the case has now been adjourned to April 9, for which by then he should be better, and then he'll show up in court for his cross-examination to continue, or for his cross-examination to begin after he has finished his witness testimony, Beatrice.
So, Lord, in like 30 seconds, what happens next?
Well, in the next hearing, which will be April 9, Richard Japa will continue his witness testimony and the prosecution will cross-examine him. Now, the presiding judge has indicated that judgment should be ready by May 3, but with this delay of about 2 weeks, it means that things will be shifted a little backwards, but she's indicating that she'll make sure that the case doesn't go beyond May 31st.
Thank you very much, Lord Edward Sari, bringing us updates of that case of the former Deputy Finance Minister and now Minority Leader Keso Atufo. We stay in Parliament, and indeed the minority is calling for a bipartisan probe into the budget and expenditure for the preparation and organization of the just-ended All-African Games. Ranking member on the Youth, Sport and Culture Committee, Kobla Woyome, says despite the few medals won by Ghanaian athletes, the entire game caused disgrace for Ghana with logistical challenges and poor management.
The just-ended games were a monumental disaster and total embarrassment to our dear country. The Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government spent a staggering $240 million on the just-ended games. Yet, the organization and management of the event was poor and shambolic. Quite apart from the fact that it lacked clear combined effect of economic viability, the organization of the games lacked clear-cut policies for tourism, promotion, and trade facilitation.
You heard that, Komla Woyome. He is a ranking member on the Youth, Sport and Culture Committee of Parliament. Minister for Works and Housing, Kojo Oponkroma, has directed the Technical Working Group on Saglame Housing Project to, within the next 5 weeks, call for expression of interest from the private sector to help complete and sell the housing unit. The project, which was constructed under the erstwhile Mahama administration and at different stages of completion, has stalled for the past 7 years, with the facility fast deteriorating. Government says it requires in excess of $100 million to finish the project. Cabinet last year directed the sector minister to explore the possibility of disposing of the housing project at no further cost to the state. Newly appointed Minister Kojo Nkrumah, who recently took over from Francis Boakye, has been visiting the Saglemi site to assess the project, and will bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. The news here on 3FM. Our top stories: hundreds of teachers storm venue of crunch meeting between NLC and leadership of striking teacher unions to press home their demands for better conditions of service. Also, curfew imposed on Karaga in northern region after residents clashed with military. One is dead and 3 others are battling for their life. She brought you an update. Plus, Minister for Works and Housing Kojo Nkrumah says the government is actively looking for private partners to assist in the completion of the abandoned multi-million-dollar Saglemi housing project. My name is Beatrice. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Coming up next is Business Daily. Have a good afternoon.
Join TV3 on a 2-day expedition of the Western Wonders of Ghana as part of the Ghana Month celebration happening from Friday 29th to Saturday 30th of March. This is Journey to the West. Explore the rich history of Cape Coast Castle. Walk through the lush forest of Kakum. Witness the breathtaking Insulezo Still Village for a journey through time. Immerse yourself in the magic of bonfires, groove to sensational music performances, and experience the beats with DJs on rotation. Indulge in mouth-watering dishes and refreshing drinks while creating unforgettable memories. Don't miss the chance to celebrate Ghana's beauty and culture. Join us for 2 days filled with adventure, culture, and a whole lot of fun. Journey to the West. To book a seat for this Odyssey, call 0264-932732. It's Journey to the West. Hashtag Ghana Month Celebration. Hashtag Journey to the West. Hashtag Explore Ghana. Brought to you by Malta Guinness.
Hello there, good afternoon. It's time now for Business Daily. Coming up today, Bank of Ghana reveals 2/3 of 23 banks currently in operation have fully recapitalized. We'll hear from the governor of the central bank.
Most of the outstanding banks have met more than 2/3 of their required capitalization over a 3-year period within 1 year.
Meanwhile, Bank of Ghana to develop standardized operating procedures for operations and management of bullion vans by banks.
We are currently developing SOPs with all stakeholders to make sure that we also have a standard, but it's done, they are complying, but we are trying to reinforce this.
I am Michael Obodo. I'll bring you details of our top stories and more shortly. Please stay. Straight into our top story. More than half of the 23 banks in Ghana have fully recapitalized. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has disclosed. According to him, most of the outstanding banks have met more than 2/3 of the required recapitalization over a 3-year period. Announcing this to the press, the governor said the banking sector has broadly remained stable despite the elevated credit risks.
Broadly, the banking sector remains stable despite the elevated credit risks. Banks' liquidity and profitability positions have continued to improve. Out of a total of 23 banks, more than half are fully capitalized and have no need for recapitalization. Most of the outstanding banks
have met more than 2/3 of the required capitalization over a 3-year period within 1 year, as at the end of 2023. Fiscal policy implementation so far has been broadly consistent with targets under the IMF ECF-supported program. Although the primary fiscal balance target for 2023 was attained, the fiscal assessment is made on commitment basis. This will require vigilance to ensure that commitment control is effective in 2024.
So that was Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, speaking there. Meanwhile, a standardized procedure and guidelines for the operation and management of bullion vans by commercial banks is in the offing. That's according to Head of Currency Management at the Bank of Ghana. Dominic Owusu says this will ensure that the transportation of valuable assets such as cash is conducted securely, efficiently, and in compliance with regulatory requirements to minimize risk of robbery and other security breaches.
We are all aware of our latest directive for all banks to use armored bullion vans and desist from the usage of soft skin vehicles for cash transportation. So currently we have quite a number of them that have been certified, and I think most banks, let me say, a lot of them have deployed these machines, so this equipment. And now when you see on the street, most of these vans that are used for the transportation of cash are as per BOG certified systems, which are armored, fully armored. And I think we are currently developing SOPs with all stakeholders to make sure that we also have a standard. But it's done, they are complying, but we are trying to reinforce this. In certain areas, we do what we call the cash airlift to move cash to certain areas, which we are still working with the Air Force to make sure we reinforce that.
So you had the Head of Currency Management at the Bank of Ghana, Dominic Owusu. Away from that, the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has raised concerns over the impact of insufficient staff strength on its operations. According to the Commissioner of Customs Division, Alhaji Seidu Idrisa, this is hindering the service's ability to effectively patrol the country's borders. He spoke during a visit by the Finance Minister, Dr. Amin Adam, at the Tema Port yesterday.
Over the years, we have been having a dwindling staff situation because even though 90% of revenue is collected from Tema, enforcement at the land and other borders make sure that people comply with what they are supposed to do here. And as of now, we are having very small, our population at the land borders, we can't even do patrols. We have left patrols to other security services. And they start that most of them, because the revenue is not their main objective, they are not helping us much. I therefore would like to add to some of our challenges that we need more personnel for the enforcement activities across the borders.
So that was the Commissioner of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Alhaji Seidu Idrisa, speaking there. Before we leave you, MTN CEO Seloma Dadevo has lauded government's announcement that the 5G spectrum will be given out for free to telcos in the country. This was revealed by the Minister of Communication and Digitalization, Eslo Usuf Kufu, who further indicated that 5G mobile internet services will be launched in the country by September 2024. Speaking to the media, the MTN boss lauded the announcement, stating that it has been long in coming.
Invest in a woman, you are investing in a whole nation.
It's very exciting. I do think, Ghana should have been here, several years before, but it's never too late. Once we understand what the announcement means, we'll be able to prepare ourselves for the next steps. But it's an exciting announcement, and I'm very happy for Ghana because our competitive in the sub-region depends very highly on our degree of technology innovation. And today we're behind markets like Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin. All of them have taken steps forward ahead of us. So.
That was MTN CEO Sello Madadevo speaking. Now, finally, Chief Executive Officer of Magdan Group, Dr. Daniel Maklole, has underscored the importance of investing in women and the critical role they play in business development and economic growth. He made this known at a dialogue organized by the Business and Financial Times.
Invest in a woman, you are investing in a whole nation. And women, if you ask me, they are very sincere. Women are very sincere. Women are very hardworking, and they are very efficient. Most probably, I have tried and tested it. Most of my managers are women. So you put a woman in a pool, their integrity stand upright. So I believe in women. I am investing in women, and I'll continue to invest in women.
So that was Chief Executive Officer of Magdan Group, Daniel Maklole, speaking there, bringing an end to Business Daily. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe.